There is a secret sleeping deep in the green heart of Japan, where the nights get longer and stories are told by the wind. Some people say that this secret is older than both cherry blooms and stories about soldiers. A culture that has been wiped out by time, and its memories are now hidden under hundreds of years of silence. But today, the whispers have turned into yells. It was a mission that was willing to go into the unknown that found a shocking truth. There is proof that people who vanished like smoke in the early mist did so. The proof is both real and unshakable. There is a lot of empty space in a city that used to be full of people and action. This is not at all like other archaeological finds. A hole in the ground of time gives us a glimpse of a world that no longer exists. Come with us as we discover the lost city and finally figure out all of its secrets one by one. Since it was found in the 1980s, the Yonaguni Monument, which is sometimes referred to as Japan's Atlantis, has been the topic of a considerable amount of controversy. Despite the fact that a number of ideas have been suggested to explain the origin of the submerged anomaly, the precise identification of the anomaly has not been identified. These hypotheses range from a formation that is fully natural to a structure that was erected by an ancient civilization. At the time, a man by the name of Kiichiro Aratake was scuba diving off the shore of Yonaguni Island in Okinawa in the year 1986. His goal was to observe the hammerhead sharks that were found in the area. While he was moving through the shallow water that was all around him, he came upon a peculiar structure that seemed to be out of place on the ocean floor. The structure was reminiscent of a pyramid because it had clean, symmetrical edges, angles, and equal steps. In addition to being visually beautiful, it had a considerable number of stages or levels that rose up to the peak. Shale and sandstone are the components that make up the rock itself, which is 20 million years old and is 25 meters in height, 100 meters in length, and 60 meters in breadth. About 45,000 square meters is the estimated size of it. Exactly how this structure got to be situated at this particular position is a mystery to everyone who is aware of it. The Yonaguni Monument is the name that has been given to this edifice. Researchers at the University of Rikis, including Masaaki Kimura, are of the opinion that the structure in question is a group of monoliths that were created by humans. Kimura asserts that it has a history that dates back 10,000 years and that it was once a part of the continent Mu that eventually disappeared. He also believes that it used to be a part of Japan. Mu was a made-up continent that would have been located in the Pacific Ocean if it had materialized. Similarities may be drawn between its history and those of Atlantis and Lemuria. A terrible catastrophe, such as an earthquake or a typhoon, is claimed to have caused the region in question to be submerged under the water. This is the legend that has been passed down. Some of the civilizations that were founded by the people that survived it were the Maya and the ancient Egyptians, amongst others. These civilizations were distributed around the earth and established themselves. When it comes to the realm of academia, this concept is sometimes disregarded as nothing more than a simple guess or a clear fairy tale. In his argument, Kimura makes reference to the following pieces of evidence. First, Japan is more prone to suffer earthquakes and volcanic activity than other nations because to its dangerous placement inside the Ring of Fire. This makes Japan a more vulnerable natural disaster. In addition, Japan is vulnerable to strong typhoons, which have the capability of burying land under the waves of the ocean. Furthermore, he is of the opinion that the structure could include rock carvings and holes in the places where poles were once located. In addition to this, he proposes that the building may include sculptures that are representative of various animals. He draws attention to the structure's straight lines, sharp angles, avenues, canals, and other aspects, including but not limited to the supposed steps. Third, he draws emphasis to the structure's straight lines. There are many who are of the opinion that the Jomon people could have been the ones responsible for constructing the monument. Until the year 300 BC, the Jomon civilization was comprised of individuals who engaged in hunting and gathering activities and lived throughout the Japanese archipelago. These individuals are the progenitors of the Yamato Japanese, who constitute 97% of the total population of Japan at the current day. At least on the surface level, the structure seems to have been constructed on purpose to a significant degree. Many individuals are likely to find the idea of a historic city that is immersed in water to be alluring because of its romantic connotations. One other viewpoint that is now prominent and is becoming more widely acknowledged is the idea that the monument is nothing more than the result of natural processes that occur within the environment. Robert Schoch, a geologist at Boston University, is the most renowned individual who advocates against the stance that Kimura has taken on this matter. Schock is of the view that the monument is made up of numerous well-defined parallel bedding planes along which the layers easily separate with one another. In order to create rectangular and other symmetrical forms, the processes of jointing and fracture are the ones that are responsible for their formation. This concept suggests that they are entirely natural things, despite the fact that they have the appearance of steps or walls. Schock is not of the opinion that the engravings were created by individuals using a variety of tools from different categories. The assertion that they are natural is made by him once again. You may be under the impression that these sorts of formations are quite uncommon on the surface. However, this is not the case. Schock provides an additional explanation by stating that erosion is the agent responsible for the appearance of such 90-degree angles in sandstone structures. Additionally, the naturally strong currents that were present in the area had a part in the formation of it. In fact, he points to formations that are analogous to those that are located to the north of Yonaguni. Over the course of thousands of years, there has always been the chance that the sandstone was broken into geometric patterns as a consequence of massive tectonic activity. This possibility has always been there. During the Miocene period, the area was subjected to tectonic activity, which resulted in the accumulation of a substantial amount of sandstone. Geologists are of the view that the monument is a piece of a much larger rock that was produced as a consequence of this disaster at some point in the past. As a consequence of a number of earthquakes, it is likely that the rocks have been broken up into a variety of different shapes. It was at the same time period in 1986 and 1997 that two big trips were taken to the area. Both of these trips were taken at the same time. It is not yet possible to say that any of the parties has arrived at a conclusion that can be called conclusive. In contrast, there are a number of hypotheses that are reasonable in light of the data that have been presented. Despite the fact that the structure seems to be a pyramid or a building with stairs, it is not possible to climb the stairs. This is the first thing to note. Especially with regard to the higher levels, this is the case. To put it simply, they are far too large. There is also the possibility that the perception of rocks as probable sculptures of animals is nothing more than the result of a psychological phenomena known as pareidolia. This pervasive phenomenon is characterized by the fact that the human eye is able to discern faces or other forms in items that seem to be of little significance, such as clouds. However, the occurrence of this event is not very unusual. Historians have often rejected the account of the lost continent of Mu, claiming that it is a poor mistranslation of records that does not have any more historical proof. However, this is not the least of the reasons why historians have disregarded this story. Because the building does not get any special protection from the Japanese government, divers are free to study it and form their own conclusions about it. This is because the building is not protected in any way. Do you feel like you had a good time exploring the lost civilization that was discovered in Japan? Make sure to share your thoughts and theories with us in the comments section below. We take great pleasure in receiving feedback from other history lovers. In order to ensure that you are always the first to discover the mysteries of our planet, make sure that you ring that notification bell so that you do not miss out on any future adventures or mind-blowing findings.